Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Bad Lit Friends, the writing podcast that still barely knows what it's doing. I am your host, Megan Thompson Mann, and this is my co host.
Hi, I'm Kirk Rafferty.
And this week we are diving back into the author industrial complex with part 2 of a series that was not intended to be a series, but is nevertheless a series because we have a lot of things to say.
I
Shocker.
took copious notes,
Yeah,
yes.
very full, very reasonable, and completely hinged notes.
You know
So,
what's funny is I started out with this kinda coming up with this as just this wisp of an idea, and I actually worried that there would not be enough to talk about for a full episode, and we might even get 3 episodes out of this.
sincerely hope so, because when we do these series, it means that we don't have to think about new topics for like multiple weeks at a
I
time.
know.
Makes our lives easier, listeners.
It it
Don't know
does.
if it's interesting for you, but hopefully it is. I would just like to say the last episode that is out now that you did with Ann Wells on writing emotions was a banger. It was so good. I was so jealous that I could not take part. And Anne, you are great. I've
Yeah,
already told you this privately, but you are fantastic.
Anne was amazing. Anne drove that show, by the way, so everything fantastic about it came from Anne. Just absolutely enjoyed having her on. Can't wait until we have her on again. I learned so much. This was a topic that she wanted to do, so she just ran with it, and I was happy to just kind of follow along with it. It was really good. I learned a lot, and I look forward to, in my own infinite edits, incorporating some of the things that we talked about.
Well, you may have her back on in a couple of weeks.
Maybe.
Maybe. I am freshly back this week from Connecticut, where I was having my high school reunion. We will not say the number, but it was a big one. It was very cool. Couple of days hanging out with a bunch of people who are all exactly the same age as you, and with whom you have had some formative traumas is always a good time, especially when there's a lot of alcohol involved. And, well, kids these days at my school, I learned they now can have soft serve ice cream at every meal.
What?
Yes, they were very proud of this, the soft serve machine. We did not have this.
No.
We
They
did
fed
not have
us
this.
gravel. That's what they
They
fed us.
pretty much fed us gravel. It was a lot of gloop,
Huh?
pasta. There was a salad bar, sort of. There were
Wow.
drinks dispensers that had Coke, Diet Coke, very important, and also what we called bug juice, which was
Mhm.
sweetened water with different colors in it.
Yeah. We
God
had bug
knows.
juice and warm milk. That's what
Yeah,
we
warm
had.
milk. Warm, yeah, always a good one. Wow, I forgot that there's a reason why our school song starts with the words "to our school up on a hillside," because there was a lot of walking up and down in hills. We all discussed that this is probably our last reunion where we are not on the golf carts. We had a discussion of maybe next reunion doing golf cart laser tag.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
With yeah, sounds good. It was pretty excellent. I got some pizza, always an important thing to do when you go back to New Haven. I do miss home, though. It was very good. And I will tell you, I did no writing. 0. Absolutely none. That is okay. That is
I feel
all
like you get a
right.
pass. Yeah.
Thank you.
A hall
Also,
pass, if you will.
topical.
Mhm.
I will say I talked to Kirk about this before. So when I was there, at school, I had the archivist at the I went to a fancy enough high school that its library has an archivist, okay? And an assistant archivist. Anyway, I was talking to the archivist who brought up copies of the literary magazine from the year that I edited it and also from the year before. I got to read my juvenilia, always oh, okay. You've come a long way, baby. Not just a slogan for Virginia Slims, which some of my classmates were indeed smoking at this reunion. But I got the idea because I found out that my high school has podcast studio. And I spoke to the archivist and I said, how would I go about inviting some young writers from the high school to come and talk with us on our podcast. I promise I will not swear too much if we do this, and she told me how to do it, so fingers crossed, later this year, we will have some young writers on to talk about what it's like to
Yeah,
still be at the beginning of your career and hopefully not be jaded like we are. So, yeah, I occasionally have thoughts, and that was one of them.
that was a good thought.
Thank
I
you.
love
How
it.
is your writing
Yeah.
going?
My writing is going great. So today, literally, 10 minutes before I came into the recording studio at
Oh,
the Rafferty household, I actually finished laying out my book in InDesign.
wow.
I'm pretty sure that it is ready to go. It is now waiting for a cover, which I had actually been hoping was going to be ready today, but it is not. So maybe next week I will actually have a cover to go with it. And so, yeah, things are really progressing as far as the book that now for actual writing, not great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'll get the I've been it has been such a process getting this book ready for self-publishing, and it's an ongoing process, actually, like, just getting the book created is just one part of it. I'll probably get back to writing. I think I'm gonna take a little break for a bit,
Good.
and probably get back to writing, if not next week, maybe the week after.
Uh, Look, writing, as we've discussed many times, can encompass all sorts of writing adjacent activity,
Mhm.
including just thinking about things.
Sure, and it's kinda topical, but as we discuss all the different ways, the directions that writers are pulled, certainly I am feeling the different pulls as well.
Yeah. I am so excited for you. Um,
Thank you.
oh, you have a whole cheerleading squad. We're all like, can't wait. So, last time we were talking about this, author industrial complex, we kind of paused when we were talking about the concept of that we need to write something that is unique and your own, and also be something that is enough like other existing products. I say product, God. I mean, let's just start off. Let's start off with the big bad. Start off with capitalism. Why not?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So, why is it that we need to have something that is our own and something that is also like everything else? But the next topic that we wanted to talk about was how do we, as writers, serve our readers while still staying in control of our text? Now, that, first of all, is impossible.
Mhm.
It's if you how much do you really wanna talk about deconstruction? Because we can talk about, when you let a book out into the world, how readers essentially create the world of the text.
That's
But,
right.
yeah, so you can never truly control it. So we need to care about them, but also it's our baby. So how do you think that as you're about to publish your first book, how do you think that you are going to be able to balance your desire to control to some extent how the text is read by readers against the reader's desires to do whatever the damn well please?
Yeah, it's tough because I have one brain and my collective readers have, as many brains as there are readers, right? So at least 3 that I know of. So you first of all just need to acknowledge that not everybody is going to love your book. Not everybody's going to read your book, but out of the readers who read your book, not everybody is going to like it. There will be some who love it. And I'm not talking about your mom or your sister or your spouse or right like genuine strangers are going to love your book. Genuine strangers are going to maybe not like your book so much. Some of them might actually actively hate it and write entire threads posts about it.
Been so tempted.
I'm baiting you. So what I do is I try not to worry about it. And Does it occur to me that, somebody will be reading this? Of course. And I think sometimes maybe it even affects my writing a little bit. If I'm writing a scene, and I think this might be a little too edgy, I might pull back a little bit, thinking specifically of readers who it would turn off, because we do tend to have an audience in mind, whether we can verbalize that audience or not. We do have an audience in our head. If for anything else, just thinking about where our book sits in the market, right? So if I'm writing a young adult novel, then I'm picturing young adults as my audience, and so there are kind of things that I will be doing and not doing to to fit within that audience. Having said that, not every young adult is going to like your young adult book. So, as authors, I think we just need to kind of understand that and be okay with it.
Yeah, there is a balance, between getting your story and it's yours, right? You can
Yeah.
make it whatever you want it to be,
Mhm.
uh, against, who you actually want to read this. With my first book, I knew that my target audience was Gen X, maybe some elder millennials, maybe some young boomers, women, so that some of the sensitivity, I think, in terms of content that I would have in looking towards a younger audience, I didn't need to have. That's not that I'm saying that anybody does anything really problematic or that there is like any language that is more offensive than swearing. But I am also aware, as I'm writing my second book, where the protagonist is a millennial, like smack dab in the middle of millennials,
Mhm.
that there's a different level of sensitivity and what those readers want to see. They want to see different guardrails. They want to see different amounts of safety. That doesn't mean that I have to change my story, but it does mean that I have to kind of be a little bit more conscious about how certain narratives are presented, right? And so everybody knows, look, Gen X, we suck. We suck as a generation. So many of us in this country voted for Donald Trump. I hate it. Fucking hate it. It also means that there's a reason why we have a reputation for being "Come at me, bro, I don't give a fuck," which means that I can be a little bit more like that. The voice is a little bit more like that.
Mhm.
At the same time, I don't want to stop writing as myself. So, as you said, not everyone is gonna love your book. Not every book is for every reader. That is a level of nuance that I think a lot of people who are first kind of dipping their toes into reading culture, online reading culture, don't quite get. They a
Yeah.
lot most of them get there eventually,
Mhm.
but it's "You didn't write a book that fits my specific needs, ergo, you suck, you're dead to me, you should be dead to everybody else."
Yeah.
I I can't do that, number 1, because it's not, like, in my philosophy of writing, but number 2, I also think that that just saps writers' creativity because who are you writing for? Ultimately, who's number 1? Who's your number 1 reader? It's you.
Yeah.
You're the
It's
person who reads this book more than anybody else. Please
it's
yourself.
gotta be. You cannot serve an entire group of people that, you don't know, first of all. But, you brought up one point that, people are going to attack you. People are going to unfairly attack you
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
So, they will read something into your book that you did not intend, you never wanted it, but you know what? Like, the internet wants drama, social media wants targets,
Mhm,
and they will parse every freaking em dash and
mhm.
semicolon and verb and noun that you have in your novel,
Yeah, yeah.
just to pull out one little nugget, that is gonna get clicks.
Yeah, yeah, and now with people running prose willy-nilly through AI detectors,
Mhm.
you're I was thinking about it today. I was brushing my teeth in the morning, and I was looking over what I had written before I went away to kinda get my head back in the headspace for writing this weekend, and I saw some M dashes. I hate it. I have always been somebody who loves M dashes. Like, I looked at my poetry from when I was 17. So many M dashes.
Yeah.
That's okay. I've
Clearly
pulled
you
them
time
back.
traveled
I
and
did.
yeah.
But also, I've understood a little bit more from this critique of M dashes and AI so-called tells about where I could be doing things differently with language and with punctuation that are more interesting. So in that regard, it has been useful. But I also live in fear because I still do love me an M dash. I now apparently semicolons are on the list. I will say this: go fuck yourself with a semicolon because I am not giving those up. Okay,
Yeah.
so I I don't care. You've told me before on many occasions that, I have a sick, twisted writer mind because I don't care about query tracker. Like, rejections kind of roll off of me, and I'm,
Yeah.
essentially don't
Weirdo.
give a fuck. But I also am a delicate, like, little lily of the valley who could get trampled on very easily. So I know that there are going to be people who don't not only don't understand my book, but also, like, will actively hate my protagonist, especially book 2, but in book 1 as well, where they're like, "Why did she do that? Why did she go and talk to him when, he did that to her? Like, how could you do that?" I'm
Mhm.
thinking, "Because I know people who have done these things. Like, I know this. This is true. These things are in my book because I have observed them either in myself or in other people, right? So I have to go, you know what? That's not your lived experience. It's my lived experience. That's okay that you think that I am I'm doing things that are unbelievable. That's your life. I'm so glad that you have lived a life that has relatively small amounts of trauma in it, that all of this would look very strange to you. I am very happy for you. But yeah,
And you know what? Quite frankly, if you were making this shit up out of whole cloth and you did not even live these experiences, but you're writing them anyway, and people are on you about that. I mean, you're a fiction author. You're writing fiction. You're not writing an autobiography. You're writing fiction.
it goes back to what we were talking about the other week about, like, readers who self-insert into first-person narratives. I wouldn't do this, therefore this book is trash, because I can't understand why anybody would do that, because I would never do it. To which I say, "So what?" Glad for you. Big whoop. What do we owe these people? We owe them being honest with our prose, right? We owe clarity. We owe telling a good, engaging story. What we don't owe them is the exact book of their dreams.
Yeah. You know what? Pay me, bitch. If you want
Yeah.
me to write the exact story you want, let's talk.
Kirk
I am
Rafferty, ghostwriter,
Yeah, I will write that story for you. Let's talk
let's talk.
numbers, and yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah,
But as
yeah,
long as
15% off coupon with the code BLF 2026. But
5%,
uh,
5%.
uh, fine, 5
I'm sorry.
5%,
I
5%.
got bills to pay.
It's
So
don't we all? I mean, it's don't we all? So,
Look,
yeah.
but you're absolutely right. You've got certain obligations to the reader, but ultimately the story is the story that you are going to tell. You have to be honest with yourself as the writer to tell that story. And that's what you owe. You owe a certain number of things to readers. You owe a certain number of things to yourselves. Some of those overlap, some of them don't.
Because if you're not telling the story you wanna tell to yourself and you're trying to tailor it to everyone, you end up with something that is bland, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
devoid of character, that has all of the edges sanded off, all of the crags, have been filed down. All of the cool stuff is in, just like in English muffins, it's in the nooks and crannies, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's where the cool stuff is.
We were talking in the beginning of the show about, I've got a bad guy, who is a little problematic, and I have no doubt that somebody will come at me, for this guy, and what I need people to understand is he's a bad guy. He's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
writing him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, I just said I'm not writing him. I'm not him, I'm writing him.
Yeah. 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 So writing does not equal endorsement.
Yes.
Very clear. There are still so many people who are still confused by Nabokov's Lolita, and that this
Yeah.
is a horror story. This is horror fiction. This is not
Mhm.
a twisted like love story. It's not meant to be that. You're supposed to be disgusted. If you feel disgust, that means that the author is doing his job. If you are seduced by Humbert because he's so brilliant and the prose is so gorgeous and silky, the author is doing his fucking job.
Yeah.
And I've got my own villain who is silky and handsome and considerate often, and he's a
Mhm.
fucking villain, and I have how much I have struggled with this idea of what if in my wildest fantasies, this book 2 becomes incredibly popular and young women don't understand that this is a cautionary tale. Do not fall victim to this. This is the main character starts out, she is somebody who has spent the first 21 years of her life not centering men.
Mhm.
And, she is whether or not she calls herself this, she is a feminist and she's not afraid to put herself first, not afraid to be friends with women. She is, a girl's girl and that's it. And she's number 1. And yet she is a perfect mark because she has never had to give thought to what it would be like to find the person who said, how can I be everything to you, darling? How can I make myself into the man that you need? She is a perfect mark. I worry about this. And so this is like, as I'm going to start editing this summer, it's something that I have to think about. Like, I need to up the menace. I need to make him a little bit more clearly like awful.
Yeah.
So that's something that I owe readers, that I am aware that I need to do. Uh, we're talking about audiences. It's not just our ultimate readers once we're published that we're kind of thinking about. We're thinking about also like our beta readers, our critique partners, our alpha readers, ARC reviewers, which is something that you and I have been talking about a lot recently
Mhm.
because there's been a little like like in the bookish online spaces about ARC readers and what do authors owe them. Different dynamics. I mean, your critique partners are often people you're close with. They're other writers. You owe them. It's more like, like here it is. I'm owing you like my vulnerability, but also come at me because I really need your help. Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And beta readers, you owe them a complete book.
And that's where I talked about some things that we owe readers and readers owe us overlap. Honesty is one of those overlaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For critique partners, for betas, absolutely. And learning how to work with these particular types of readers, I think, helps you get ready for dealing with the general public.
Mhm.
Because if you're giving your book in an unfinished state to these people, you're even more vulnerable. The shell has just cracked, right? You are this tiny, ugly, almost featherless baby bird, right? With eyes closed and like, help me. And you're going to get stuff, you're going to hear stuff that hurts, but it's safe spaces. It's good. Like, this is good. Learning training wheels, right? It's training wheels for other people. ARC reviewers. God, Kirk, I've had so many thoughts about ARC reviewers recently. I'm nowhere near having an ARC reviewer, but I have had many, many, many thoughts, which I've expressed most of to you. Boy, okay. So what I am about to say is not the opinion of bad lit friends. Maybe. I don't know. You
I
might
think it
endorse me.
is.
I
I
think,
think it
yeah,
is.
okay. It is the opinion of bad lit friends. ARC reviewers are, so if you don't know what an ARC reviewer is, it is either an advanced reader copy or an advanced review copy, two different phrases that it stands for. So these are essentially complete books, not complete. They are given to
Final edits, yeah.
final, yes. So essentially it's almost ready to go out into the world. These copies are given to readers in hopes that they will provide an advance review online, usually, or it can be in trade publications, so that when you hit the ground on publication day, you have reviews that are ready to go. This is a fantastic idea. I generally think ARC reviews are they're great, really useful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the internet ruins everything. There have been some things happening recently. This is kind of treading into hot goss territory, but I'll try not to go too far. Where ARC reviewers are making demands of authors on how, oh, I need to decide before I commit to reading your book if I even wanna read it, so I think you should give me, I don't know, like, 5 pages of it for free.
Mhm.
I have to also have to stress that our copies are free. They are not, or they should be free. They aren't always, but they should be free. But whatever happened to the I didn't like it, so I didn't finish it, or the bad review, or the just mid review. From what I can tell, the pressure in ARC spaces to complete books and provide 4 or 5 star reviews is high because the readers don't want to be blacklisted on the websites that match authors with readers so that they can continue to receive free books. That sucks. That sounds like a platform problem. There are
Yep,
some platforms that are
yep.
not doing this. That's great because I don't think anybody should be afraid of giving a bad review or saying couldn't finish it. Sorry, not for me. I don't, and this is me. And a lot of people will disagree with me. I think it is too much to ask an author to, kind of say, "Well, I'm not sure if I wanna commit to your whole book, so give me, X number of pages."
Yeah,
Why?
that's a new thing, we just started noticing is
I
this
don't
this
like it.
idea that a reviewer wants to see sample pages before they'll actually agree to take on your arc, and that is so weird to me.
It's really
Yeah.
weird. It's like
So, I want
yeah.
sample pages before I accept your free book to determine if I want to accept your free book or not. Yeah,
It's this concept,
it's weird.
that of, like, elevating the reader above the writer, and the reader says, "Well, you wouldn't exist without me, the reader," and the writer goes, "I mean, we could have a chicken and egg conversation, for forever, but ultimately, without my stuff and everybody else's stuff, you're reading, like, the side of your Diet Coke can. Sorry."
Well, and it's I guess to me, the problem is it's almost, I am giving you something that I created for free, and you're asking me to do a job interview for
Yeah.
it.
Yuck.
And sorry, but take it or leave it.
Yeah. Seriously. Seriously, how many more demands do you wanna last week we talked about, having to do all of this crazy online shit all of the time, right? How
Mhm.
many more things, how many more complicated dances do you need us to learn until
Yeah,
we please
yeah.
you? "My liege lord, what do you think of my waltz?" I don't care. This is also probably why I will never sell a book. It's because I don't care. I care that you read my book. I would love it if you read my book. Do not get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing or doing what I think is right. I have boundaries. So, no. At the same time, the ARC reviewers are invaluable
Yeah,
because
and let's be really clear too. This is a clear minority of
yes,
problematic readers.
yes,
There are certainly problematic writers as well, but this
yeah.
is a vast minority. The most readers are just absolutely amazing, and thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
serious
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like, sarcasm off. You guys are amazing, and I am not just saying that because I want you to keep listening to my podcast, but I it is a minority, and there is a culture that has arisen online amongst some ARC reader reviewers where there is this twinge of entitlement, like, I am entitled to these books, getting angry when they don't get accepted to an ARC reading team that they particularly wanted to be on, bullying writers, bullying
Yeah.
authors, bullying publicists, bullying people to get copies. It's a free book. Nobody I love you readers, but nobody owes you anything. I'm so sorry. This is capitalism. Nobody owes you anything. Buy the book.
Yeah, if you don't get into the arc, buy the book. Yeah.
Buy the friggin'
Get it
book.
from your library. It will still be free, and you'll be supporting both the author and your library.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, these writers don't owe you a copy. It's wonderful that you are so enthusiastic about this
Mhm.
particular writer and their writing. That is so super cool. But at the same time, them's the breaks sometimes. It just doesn't work out. So, one last question in this general area. Do you think it's okay to actively disappoint your readers? Disappoint could mean anything, like in the way that you end your book, in the way that you market your book, in the way that you launch your book. Is it okay, do you think, if you're okay with it as a writer?
That's a great question. I cannot think of a scenario. Maybe you have one in mind, but I can't think of a scenario where I would set out to disappoint my reader.
What if you don't set out to do it, but as you draft, you realize you might disappoint not all of them, but some of them?
Oh, well, again, your story needs to go where it honestly needs to go.
Mhm.
So as long as you're writing a story that is truthful to you, to that story, to the characters, then yes, absolutely. I think that the story needs to go where the story needs to go. And so maybe for example, gosh, I know that, like television writers and movie writers and stuff deal with this constantly, killing off a beloved character. So we can all think of TV series where in season 3, so and so is killed off. And so you've got angry fans. Now, the reason they killed that character off, maybe it had to do because that the actor that plays that character wanted to go on and do something else, or maybe it was just the writing room got together and said, "You know what? This character's arc is over. This is a natural conclusion to this character's arc." Whatever reason, yeah, I can say so if you are a writer and so it sounds like maybe like if you're writing a series and in book 3, a very beloved character needs to be killed off and you know it's gonna piss some readers off or it's gonna break their heart. Man, I'm all about breaking a reader's heart. I'm all about,
I know.
making them feel things, right? So, in that case, yeah, I obviously don't kill off a character just to kill off a character, but, I'm thinking of the, Firefly movie, Serenity,
Mhm.
right? There were ha is it long has it been long enough? Can I spoil it?
I think so. It's been, what, 15 years or
Yeah,
more?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's okay.
So there's a scene in there where a very beloved character is killed in a very brutal
Mhm.
fashion. It was a shock, and it was, in my mind, a very necessary move because for the rest of the movie, you understood that anybody could die. Any one of these. So the stakes just and it was a stake. The stakes were so incredibly high at that point because the rest of the movie, you were wondering who was next. And so that was a very criticized move. I thought that Whedon, not a great person, but,
Terrible
he did get
person.
that right. He did get that
Yes.
right.
I think
So,
the biggest disappointment of Serenity is that it was written
is
by
Joss
Joss
Whedon?
Whedon. So
I know, I know.
otherwise, very enjoyable. Um, yeah, I have been toying with the idea of where to put a bust up between 2 characters, a main character and this other character who just walked into my book in the last third, fully formed, and I'm just like, "I fucking love this person." Do I wanna put it in this book? Do I wanna put it in the next book? But I know that it's coming because it drives the plot, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I want to make this as painful as possible for the reader,
Yeah,
right? So I'm thinking about it already. I think it probably will be in the next one, but I'm already kind of thinking like, how do I make this satisfying because it's painful?
sure,
So
sure.
yeah, and then thinking about like, is this a permanent bust up or not?
When I finally release my novel, if you don't cry at least a couple times while reading this book, I feel like I will have failed you as a reader. I say this generically, not to Megan, but Generically, if you go out and buy my book and you get through it without busting one tear out, I've failed. That's it.
It will happen. I cry. Look, I used to cry at the cotton commercials, the look, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives. Those used to make me cry.
You may
So
need to stay away from my book.
one yes. One of the things Shane would we had this thing where he would we'd be watching TV together, kind of both spacing out or whatever, and then hear the first strains of Sarah McLachlan's "Arms of an
Oh
Angel"
god, yes.
for the ASPCA, and he would
Uh-huh.
scramble for the remote, like, "No, no, 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 not my no, no, my girl can't watch that. No, 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 no. Let's put we'll watch Terminator." Oh, wait, no, that makes you cry too? Okay, how about, Storage Wars? Oh, that's got a sad story in it too. So, yes, I like to pretend that, I am a lawyer with a dead soul, but everything does make me cry. So I look forward to weeping over your book.
Good, good.
Yes, yes. So, we kinda touched on this as well, but this was another topic you threw in here. The book you wanna write versus the
Mhm,
career you wanna build,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So, yeah, not always in perfect alignment, right?
Let me lead off with a story. Back in the days when I was agented, I had a discussion with my agent, and she said, "Tell me about your next book." And I pitched this idea to her. So she signed me for a historical thriller. This was I think I've actually talked to you about this book. This book I wanted to write so bad, and I still want to write it so badly.
Yeah.
It was my homage to John Hughes films, like 1980s, like Pretty in Pink, but it was kind of this insane take mashup on all of these. I pitched this to her and I threw everything and she was very silent through the whole pitch and everything. And at the end of it, she said, "Let me tell you why that's not gonna work." And you know what? She was right. It was disappointing to hear, but she was absolutely right. If you are here's this is my opinion. It was my agent's opinion as well. It is also my opinion. If you plan to build an audience, whether you're self-published or whether you are going traditional published, if you plan to build an audience, the fastest, best way to do that is to stick with one genre. Now, that's not to say you can't, if you want to start branching out into other genres, it's going to take you longer to build an audience because if your first book is a thriller and your next book is a romance, um people that enjoyed your thriller are going to be confused, and people that enjoy your romance are gonna be confused. And so you can build an audience, and there are authors out there that have built an audience by doing multi-genre. It's going to be harder, and that's just how that is. So if your goal is to build an audience, then you need to kinda stay in a lane until you built that audience. Once you've built, a sizable audience, now you can start branching out and stuff. This is not me saying that this is a hard, fast rule,
Yeah.
but this is kind of how it tends to work out. So, if you're okay with that, if you're okay with, "Hey, I'm young, I'm gonna write what I wanna write," hey, more power to you. I'm not saying that's wrong. Go at it. Enjoy yourself because you should always enjoy yourself when you're writing. So
Even when it's
that's
painful.
even when it's painful. Yeah, so if you've got an itch to write an homage to John Hughes films right after you've written a historical thriller, you
You
should do
might
it.
be
Your
Kirk.
your agent is not gonna want that. You're gonna have to have words, but you know what? Actually, the cool thing that comes out of this story is I went back, I rethought, I wrote a damn good second historical thriller, and it's probably the best thing I've ever written. So, the story does have a happy ending for now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would go as far to say that for many indie writers, this is advice that works as well at the
Mhm.
beginning of their careers.
Absolutely.
Not just
Absolutely.
for people who are trying to go trad route. For indie, you are trying to build your audience and you're curating that in a way that is more personal than people who are trad pub. You have more control over where your books go. And if you're building an audience, that audience you hope will become devoted. No, I'm not going to call them cult members, but they are going to be devoted readers who want to come back and read another thing by you, indie writer.
Yes.
Now, that being said, you and I have both met at conferences any number of indie writers who publish in different genres or different shades of genres, and they often use different pen names for each of
Right.
those streams. Yes. But
Highly recommended. If you are going to cross the streams, do it with pen names. Again, you don't have to, but that's gonna make it easier on your audience.
yeah, yeah, because you want your audience to find your books,
Yeah.
ultimately, and
And I
less.
think it's one of those to kinda go back to our previous topic, it's kind of one of those things that you owe to your readers, I think, is to establish a clear identity, establish a clear brand.
Yeah.
So, if, I'm looking for a historical thriller and I like what Kirk Rafferty wrote before, I know that the next Kirk Rafferty I see on a bookshelf is probably gonna be something I want also. And then if I'm gonna write a romance, maybe I'll pick up a pen name of Cindy Lou Harris or something. That's my romance brand.
So, it's interesting that you talk about that because there has been some discussion online recently about men writing romance, sort of
Mhm,
kind of
mhm,
trad, not even trad pub, but I say trad in the sense of what we think of traditional romances. So, not the kind of genre bending ones, but, like, bodice rippers, stuff like that, under pen names that are either women's names or their initials and a last name.
mhm.
And this has been going on, I mean, God, romances were
Probably
written in
since
the
before I was born, yeah.
well, in the 19th century, there's plenty of romance that was written
Sure.
by men's. I know how to speak English good, but plenty of romance that was written by men. And it is surprising, I think, to a lot of readers who are new to the genre or don't know the history of the genre to find that out. Some readers feel duped
Mhm,
that
mhm,
but what does that say about the expectations that we put around particular genres that they should necessarily be the purview of one gender or another, one sexuality or another? While we do need to absolutely understand what we are writing and not go treading and not go, well, Rachel Dolezal here. We need to understand what we're doing. Men
mhm,
also are participants in romance. Even the most like anodyne, you know, Susie Homemaker, wow, I'm dating myself, clean romance, Amish romance. If it involves a straight couple, there is a man that is involved in that romance.
mhm, mhm.
Why not? I say this as a feminist. Why not let a man write a romance? It could
Yeah,
be very eye-opening for both women and men because more men should be reading romance, frankly. I think it would help a lot. Maybe
yeah, I
no more
think it would.
wars. No more I have so many romance novels that I can loan, give them back to men who are interested. When I was at college, I set up a reading shelf in our little residential college library in the basement that was all of my cast off, bonk busters and bodice rippers,
Yeah.
and, it got other people to put them down there. Men read them, because they're
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're they're quick, fun reads, and I had guys
I think
thank me.
more men should read romance, and there are
It's
there's a special
interesting.
segment of men that really need to read romances to kind of understand,
Gee, I don't know who
like,
you're talking
how a
about.
partnership works between a man and a
Huh, yeah,
woman.
also, we need more, uh, male, like, gay and, like, bisexual, just queer romances written by men. Um,
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
or not, uh, women, like, predominate in those spaces as well, even when it's, male. It and God, that's a topic for another time, and we really should get somebody who knows a lot more about it than I do. But,
Yes.
for example, the fandom that has spun up around heated rivalry on the back of the television show is quite a toxic one right now, and it's all ladies. So, I welcome male listeners. please contact me. I will send you one in a brown paper bag. No one needs to know."
And you know what's funny? So you and I were at the what is it, Southern
Mhm.
California Writers Conference, what, 3 years ago or something.
Jesus, yeah.
And yeah, we took a romance writing
Mhm,
workshop together, and there were a surprising number of men
mhm.
in there. I mean, it was predominantly women, but I was kind of surprised at the number of men in there. I think it was probably less than a fourth of men, but probably close to a fourth were
Yeah,
men.
yeah,
So,
cool.
there's an interest there, I think.
I will point out that where I have seen men writing romance, stuff that is explicitly romance, has been in, Western romance, and
Mhm,
manly men, um, also have tender hearts.
mhm,
Yeah, you could also, I don't know, be a vet tech, who likes baking cupcakes.
sure.
Why not? It could happen. Think big. Think big, men.
Yeah,
Women are here to enable you.
I wanna see the guy running the cupcake shop and the
I've seen this movie.
high-powered executive woman
I've seen
from
this
the
movie.
big city. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The Hallmark Channel is for you, Kirk, especially around Christmas time. Yes, I may have seen a number of these movies or not. So, but yeah,
But you have.
I think it would be good to have men writing romances for men. Why not?
Sure,
Why
sure.
let ladies have all the fun? Why not let men ruin something else for women? Come on! Come on.
That's right. Yeah, men don't control enough things.
No, no, come on. This is our nice little space. It's toxic as fuck, but come on in. You're used to that. You can make it worse. So when we're thinking about building careers, um, what do you think how far out do you think you should be thinking in this, I'm gonna stay in my lane? How long should one stay in one's lane? I would say that it's pointless to be prescriptive here, but I have a number and I'm curious what your number is.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know.
Mm,
I think that so going the 2 different routes, if you're going the trad pub route, certainly you need to stay in well, actually, let me start over. If you're going the trad pub route, you've got a lot of leeway because you can query your historical thriller and be writing a romance and then query the romance and maybe no literary agent wants your thriller, but you get 7 different offers on your romance. So you sort of you can play around with it if you really want to. Now, a lot of writers are like, you know what? I write science fiction. That's what I write. That's my thing. I love it. I don't see myself ever writing anything else. That's fine. And so if you query science fiction after science fiction, that's fine. But if you're experimenting around a little bit, there's nothing that says that you can't query your science fiction. And then the next thing you query is your fantasy. And the next thing you query is your romance and just kind but just know that when you hook a literary agent, when you sign with a literary agent, most of the time, they are going to want you to stay in your lane at least early in your career. I suspect so obviously, I am not at the point in my success where I'm I'm not successful yet, but, I'm not at the point in my career to know when exactly that is, but I suspect that, you know, you will know eventually as a published author, when you can start branching out. I think you'll have discussions with your agent. I think you'll have discussions with your editor and things like that. And eventually it'll be like, okay, yeah, Kirk Rafferty has 15 thrillers out there. We can turn this into an event where he's written a science fiction thriller and, make that happen. Yeah, I'd be curious as to what your number is because I just don't have a good handle on
I completely pulling this out of my fundament, but,
that.
5.
5?
The bare minimum, 5. I would say
Again,
that you can do some
we're
yeah.
talking under one author name, right? Because pen
Yes,
names
yes,
is a
under
different
pen names is totally different. This is under
yeah,
one author name.
yeah.
That being said, I think that you can do, kind of bending of genre, a little bending, a little pushing in different directions, but you want to stay in that genre. It's
Mhm.
like it or not, you want people to keep buying your books, and like it or not, people are creatures of habit,
Mhm.
and they want to replicate the experience of the first book that they read of yours that they liked enough to want to read another one, right?
Mhm.
So, it get established and go have your freaky deaky book under your pen name, but I would say at least 5.
Yeah.
And
And
also
if you're running a pen name, then there
yeah,
is no minimum.
who cares?
Maybe you're a quick writer and you can write, 2 or 3 books a year, so one of them is your sci-fi and the other is your romance, and they're completely different pen names, and you just alternate or do whatever moves you. Yeah.
You wanna be in a position, if you're a trad pub, that when your agent tells you no, you can say that you are, an author that has enough, cultural capital, let's say, to be able to say, "You know what? I get what you're saying, but I really wanna try something new." And that publishers are still willing to take a bet on you because you have a track record. So, if that happens to you,
And by
clapping
the
all
way,
around,
you
snapping
better have a
fingers.
track record or you better have a track record of sales.
Yeah, especially for trad pub, they're going to demand it. Indeed, let it go have your weird pen name, and be
Mhm.
weird. Again, though, you may want to ride on the coattails of your previous success, so maybe you do wanna wait until you have a few bucks, to do it, and then it could be like, Kirk Rafferty, uh, you know, branches out into picture books about penguins.
I
You
would rock a
you would
picture
do a
book
better
about
job than that
penguins.
guy that we talked about, with, "Look at all my boxes of books that didn't sell. Oh,
Oh god.
I haven't thought about him in a while, but, those winners. But I would buy your Penguin book,
Thank
even
you.
under your real
Now I'm
name.
gonna write it. Now I'm gonna
Yeah,
write it.
you should. So I think that's where we're gonna stop in Kirk's tiny, tiny outline that has somehow expanded to fit, well, we think 3 episodes. And next time we're gonna pick up with the concept of when your passion becomes your job, which sounds fun, maybe not. Tune in to
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah.
But first let's do some hot goss.
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, I figure I owe you some hot goss because there was no hot goss last week.
There wasn't. Anne and I were having such a good time discussing the topic at hand that I arrived at a choice, which was we need to cut it off here or to do hot goss or just not do hot
No,
goss. And
it's fine.
I made the call, Megan. I made the
It's
call.
totally fine because we didn't do it on our, holiday extravaganza either, since it was all
Yeah,
hot goss, but I think stylistically it worked.
I think so too.
Again, it's all about me, so I'm here to bring you the hot
You are
goss.
the hot goss queen
I am the hot
anyway,
goss
and it would
yeah.
have yeah, it wouldn't have felt right.
So what I'm bringing you today is not from Threads. Shocker. Uh, I will say that I spent my entire vacation reading so many goddamn threads in anticipation of eventually doing an episode, which I am provisionally calling Bad Lit Thrends. Gross.
Ugh.
Because what's happening in bookish spaces on Threads is really interesting right now. But this did not happen on Threads. This happened on TikTok and Amazon and my God knows how many parts, 10-part Blue Sky thread, which I will link in the show notes. So, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Manning Literary Agency that we had questions about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
we
if
were about 99.9% sure that it was fake.
yeah, we were pretty
And
sure it was
guess
fake.
what?
Dum dum dum, totally fake.
Yeah.
So I had, a feeling, as everybody knows. I say everybody, all the people who listen to us, know that I thought it was fake. Kirk thought it was fake. I kind of didn't think about it too much after we dropped the episode, but full disclosure, I was taking a break in the ladies' room because I just needed to step out of the office. And I thought to myself, I wonder what that Nigel Carlisle from the Manning Literary Agency that I am pretty sure is 100% AI with him and his weird ass AI TikToks about, agent advice to aspiring authors. I wonder what he's up to. Well, I figured it all out in the space of about 3 minutes while I was in the ladies' room.
Mhm.
I will point out that I was not on the toilet. Get your mind out of the gutter. I was just chilling out because I'm gross. Anyway, so it turns out that this is a marketing campaign. I thought that this was going to be some effort to sell like classes, like I don't know, pitching classes or writing courses. I was totally wrong. Number one, Nigel Carlisle is indeed AI and not real. He is a character in a book called The Book of Confessions by Elena Cartwright, or allegedly by Elena Cartwright. This is a thriller about a writer who keeps querying a literary agent over at least a decade and keeps getting rejected by this literary agent, Kate, who we talked about last time, who showed up in Nigel Carlisle's pic photo on his desk in one of
Mhm.
these AI TikToks. And Kate keeps rejecting her, and Elena, that is the not just the name of the author in real life, but also the name of the author in the book, in the story. And Elena starts stalking Kate and then kidnaps her and throws her in a shed and threatens to kill her. Now, I don't know where the story goes after there. I did download a 17-page sample and read it. As we say in Bad Lit Friends, do not punch down. That's all I will say.
It's all we need to say.
That's all that needs to be said. It is not my cup of tea, and that is okay. Not all books for are for all people. But what I was left with from all of this was a really gross feeling. Number 1, AI. So much AI. It is
Yeah.
all the TikToks AI, all the images AI. The cover looks like it's AI generated. The entire website AI. So much AI. I do not know. I'm not going to say anything about the book. I have no way of knowing whether or not AI, and I am going to assume that AI was not used in the composition of this book because I don't know. And that is one thing that I will keep absolutely sacred. I do not point fingers unless I know. However, it is, I think, deeply disrespectful to the audience to have used that amount of AI and been okay with it. People were clearly duped. And this is where I start getting super grossed out. So on the website, it said that all of the agents were closed to queries. And yet there are email addresses for every single one of these make believe agents. And what do we know about aspiring writers?
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, she put the hint in the book. Aspiring writers can get desperate and do dumb stuff. Maybe not kidnapping agents, but they will do things like, I don't care if they say that I can't query them. They put their email address. What the hell? Imagine one writer, just one, who decided to do that, thinking that there was a real person at the other end of that email. This is so uncool. You're fucking with your peers. Don't fuck with your peers. It's
Well,
not cool.
and not to put too fine a point on it, but these people are potentially sending you sample pages of their manuscript.
Yeah.
You are harvesting manuscripts from people you are it may be a gimmick to market your book, but you are misleading writers into sending pages and, writers are writers are kinda used to getting scammed already without you wrote a book, great. I don't know anything else about you. I don't know what you're doing with these sample pages that people send to you out of desperation. Uh, and yeah, so it's pretty gross.
It's really gross. And then on top of it, the subject matter is difficult. I think that there is a potentially a very interesting book to be written here. I'm not sure that this is the one, but about how this industry, uh essentially, eats us and is often cruel whether or not that's intentional. And most of the time it's not intentional. It's just, the nature of the beast. But agents are on the receiving end of so much negativity and threats and just just nastiness that
Mhm,
I'm not like a spiritual person or by any of it, but I this concept of allowing these thoughts to escape into the universe is kind of gross to me. Like I am so desperate that I would kidnap, an attractive female agent and put her in a shed and threaten to kill her. Ew, sorry, gross. On the other hand, I think a very good writer could do something very interesting with this.
mhm.
So, if you are that very good writer, concepts are not copyrighted, as we learned earlier this year with that case that went on with the romanticides. Like you can't copyright tropes, right? So it's an interesting idea. The marketing just makes it for me a no. Um, just real I feel like so many people were duped and not in a way that feels fun, right? Or that feels safe.
And again, look, don't don't query a closed agent anyway,
Yeah.
but, like, like we were saying, there are querying writers out there who just they'll see that email address and they'll go, "Oh, I'll go around," what's the worst they can do? Just toss my query, right, by sending it to their email. Now you've just muddied the waters, you put fake agents out there,
Yeah.
you're harvesting writers' sample pages, or, God help the person that sends you their entire manuscript because you have no instructions on your website, so they're just gonna send you the whole
Yeah.
thing. It's so problematic just from that one standpoint alone. I don't
Yeah.
I think this was poorly thought out.
And I say this as a troll. I mean, look, I have set up fake LinkedIn profiles, okay? I'm not above being gross myself, but, like, that is beyond. It kind of invited a level of interactivity whether or not the author intended it that is potentially destructive to
Mhm.
somebody's mental health, that me putting up a fake blog where people fought in the comments did not. That was fucking fun. But, like, it nobody was hurt in the making of that troll, except for, the suspension that I got. Very bad girl, but you know better, Megan. Very responsible and good writer, you know better than that. But, why? Why? If one writer did it, I would say this is just not cool. We have no idea. Nobody's talking about it. There was a little flash in the pan when it kind of first bubbled up.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like, "Ha ha! I shall go to Blue Sky, and I shall be the first one." Well, guess what? I'm the only one.
You're still the only one.
I'm still the only one. And
Yeah.
I hopefully, if you're listening to this, maybe you will also spread the word because I don't care about this woman's book, but I also don't want people sending out emails and in the future
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
because she may get sick of this campaign at some point and just leave the website up in perpetuity. Who knows? So just maybe don't do that. So main takeaway, do what you like. Um right?
Do what
Uh,
moves you.
yeah, do what moves you. It's you should think about your readers, but also, there is a chicken and egg, but ultimately, I think as writers, we are the chickens. Bok bok. So
You know, be honest in your storytelling,
mhm.
and I think the rest follows.
No fake websites unless they're
And
fun.
no fake websites for crying out loud.
Unless they're fake blogs.
Unless they're yeah, okay, fake websites are fun. Don't fish people though.
Much better. Much
Yeah.
better. Thank you. So you can find us online. We are Badlit Friends on all the socials. Blue Sky. I'll put that Blue Sky thread that I thought was going to be, my magnum opus, my investigative journalism. But no, but I will link that. But on Blue Sky, where libs are in their happy, safe space. On Instagram, we're also Badlit Friends. Threads, threads, threads. So gross. It's awful. We are also on YouTube. Our YouTube metrics continue to improve. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Also, Spotify, again, please subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, all the other major platforms. Like us, subscribe, everything. It all helps us create more listeners. Some of you may hate us. That's okay. We're tough. We're tough unless we're crying at cotton commercials. So, and next week, hopefully, we're going to be finishing up this mini series on the author industrial complex. You can also email us at badlitfriends. Tell me that I'm, you know, dead in the soul. I don't care. I'm an attorney. I hear worse. So until next time, we will see you then.
Bye.